Welcome, welcome. Thank you guys for tuning in to Keeping It Realty. I'm your host, Yolanda Brockington, the Powerhouse Realtor, and this is my brother here, Angelo B. We both are from Maryland, and I wanted to bring my bro on so he could talk to you guys about his story and how we actually connected and worked with the client that we were able to help. My brother wholesaled the deal. He allowed me to be the realtor on his team, and I was able to find the client property. Before we get into that, though, I would love to tell the story about how my brother and I met. Obviously, the Superhumans pulled us super close together. Actually, it's a funny story because you live in Maryland. I had no idea that you were here in Baltimore. It's close to me, and we actually connected virtually. Tell me a little bit about just your experience and working real connecting with the Superhuman group and then meeting me. How was that experience for you?
Man, first and foremost, thank you for allowing me to speak on your platform and bringing me on your platform. I've been watching you, and I'm extremely excited to be here and be on your show. So thank you for having me. Um, Now, for the superhumans, when I first came across them, I didn't know what it was, but something told me to join. And as soon as I joined, shout out to Aaron Bevins. He introduced me. He welcomed me to the group, and he had a Zoom call. I think a day later after I joined, going over real estate and stuff like that. So I joined, and we were going on the Zoom. He was talking about introducing everybody, and he came across Yolanda Brockington, and all he mentioned was Baltimore. And as soon as he said that, my hands just started typing away. I had to reach out to you because, just him introducing you and hearing your story and hearing what you had going on, I said, I need to meet her and I need to be connected with her. So, I reached out to you and you sent me your number immediately. And, from there, it was history, man. So, I'm extremely grateful that have found the superhumans because, that entire group changed my life, and I'm forever grateful for everyone that I met in the superhuman family.
Definitely. I'm very, very grateful as well, bro. I mean, it's definitely been a pleasure and an honor to meet you. You can't tell me we haven't known each other for years. Like literally when we were sitting at the table, we were just looking at the video, I mean the photo of, us just meeting and how we were came up on that 1 year anniversary to now working with each other. I just want to first and foremost say as well, I really appreciate you for thinking of me. I mean, as realtors, we kind of stay away from like wholesalers or that whole word or term. But what you have shown me through experience is that it's actually a great idea to really network with you because if you have a lead, that you're working, if they want to work with a realtor or whatever that may be, it actually allows them to know that you have someone that's on your team that is licensed, that is capable of helping them find a property. And it was just really cool how you really pull me in. And I appreciate you, not just on this deal, but many deals too. You always call, we give insight to each other. And I do want to just really thank the group as well for connecting us. We've come a long, long way. Um, Actually, and we've over the years have grown so close together that I really wanted to put this platform together for you because a lot of people know you as Angelo B, but you've kind of been quiet in our group a little bit. And a lot of people aren't for the show of what they do. And I love and I respect your humbleness that you don't have to be out there to say what you're doing. But I wanted to put this platform to just highlight what you've done and how you serve. For me, that was the number one thing that is aligned, and that's why we work so good together. Is that we truly are here to serve people and serve our community, and we do that wholeheartedly. Of course, you want to make money, but for us, is obviously not about the deal. It's about helping people and just serving the community to do what God is calling us to do. And so that's why I wanted to talk more about who is Angelo B. Before we get into our story of helping, I kind of want to build up to that, right? So I want
Mhm.
people to know, now that you have this platform, you can let us know who is Angelo B. That's my first question. And what inspired you to get into real estate?
Um, that's a loaded question, but who is Angelo B? I mean, no one ever asked me that, so I mean, for me, First and foremost, I'm a child of God. I wouldn't be in this position, without him. So I'm extremely grateful for him to bless me, with all these connections that have came into my life over the last couple of years. But Angelo B, man, he's relentless. He's never going to give up, no matter what obstacle coming his way. Um, and, it's been a very tough journey for me on my entrepreneurship journey because I'm the first generational entrepreneur in my family, right?
Let's
A
go.
lot of my
Let's go.
family,
I checked up for that one.
uh,
Come on now. We talk about
um,
generational curses here.
and for me, I know a lot of people who either start the entrepreneurship journey or, go that route. They weren't successful in school, but I was the total opposite. I was very successful in school. I was very smart. Because I think what drove me to be successful in school is because I looked at my family tree, and most of my family never graduated from high school, got a diploma. I'm the second person in my family to get a high school diploma. So to me, it was very important for me to achieve that goal. And I was pushed to, go to college and stuff like that. But I just knew long term that that wasn't the route I wanted to go. I always been around, real estate, and my uncle used to do construction and stuff like that. So I was always around the environment. Um, but how I got introduced to real estate was I had a old friend, that brought me to his house, and he set me down, and he had like this projector, and I came over his house, and he showed me what he's been learning, over the months, and I heard the word wholesale, and he broke it down and showed me this video. I think it was of Jerry Norton or something like that, and I watched the video, and then I just got hooked. I saw these big checks, and I was like, man, they just make it seem so easy, right? And ever since I learned the word wholesaling, I've just been obsessed with it because I knew it was something about real estate that intrigued me, and that I knew this was my path, this was my way out, and I was determined to make this my way out and make it happen. A lot of people don't know my story, but at the age of 18, I lost my dad. It was a very, very dark moment for me in my life. When that happened, my world was shattered into a million pieces. I can only imagine someone losing their parent, having to bury their parent while they're still alive, especially at a young age. So for me, it was really, really tough. Um, I used to have moments to where I would be out in public and I would just break down and cry. People would look at me crazy. People wouldn't understand, but the pain that I carried, um, it just took a while to get over because my dad was like my best friend. We did everything together, So I went down the dark path, man. I was, around the wrong people. I was doing drugs, selling drugs. I was just going down a very dark path. And I knew, at the age of 23 is when I call it my C moment, Um, and I just knew that if I kept going down this path, I was either going to end up in jail or dead. So I knew that I had to make a change. So at, 23, I just turned 23, it was 2018. I just had that C moment, and, God just spoke to me, and he was like, son, I want you to change, and if you want to change, you have to want that for yourself. And for me, I was like, it's time. It's time to do something, better and bigger than myself. And I knew I wanted that for my family. I knew I had to be the person in my family to create something, generational wealth that can be passed down from generations to come. And I knew if I didn't do it now, it might skip a generation, it might skip two generations. So I put that pressure on myself to, man, I just got to man up and I got to go get it. So, that at the age of 23, that's when I started really my entrepreneurship journey, and I got into real estate. Um, in 2019, I learned in 2018, right? So it took me a long time to get my first deal. It took me 15 months, and most of the time, the reason it took me that long is because I'm the type of person to where I wanted to know everything, right? I wanted to be perfect. I wanted to know everything. And I realized that the longer I keep, being in that phase of analysis paralysis, the longer I was going to wait to become successful or get that first deal. So, in 2019, that's when I really started taking action. I got my first contract actually signed. I remember it was in April of 2019. I didn't know too
I
much
was
of what the
gonna ask
hell I
you about
was.
that deal because I remember that deal. I
Mhm.
remember when you got that deal under, and I just wanted to shout out real quick, Paul. I know Paul has really been a great mentor in your life as well, and had kind of really motivated you and helped you throughout that deal too, just kind of in getting started. I know you had to renegotiate it,
Yeah,
and it was just so much that was going on. So tell me a little bit too. How was that with your first deal?
yeah. So actually, I'm getting to it right. So in 2019, that was actually my first contract. It wasn't my first deal. So in 2019, I actually got my first contract, but I didn't really know exactly what I was doing. I just knew, okay, you get it locked up and you assign it to a buyer, but I didn't know anything about repairs. So when I went to go to the appointment to get that contract, I did the walkthrough with the seller and everything, and I'm looking at everything, and I didn't know what was repairs or nothing. So long story short, I got it locked up too high. I couldn't move the deal, so I had to cancel the contract. And from there, it kind of put me in a mindset where it's like I'm thinking to myself like, okay, is this really meant for me? I was in that space to where I was so happy to get a contract, and then I had to cancel it, right? So for the next couple of months, I really didn't take any action. And then what got me back into it was, I found the superhumans. I found the superhumans, and that's what really sparked me back alive, really. And when I joined the superhumans, I think in May of 2020. So in May of 2020, I joined. Within the next month or so, yeah, the next month, I got my next contract signed, and this actually became my first deal. Now this was a JV deal. It wasn't. I didn't do it like exactly by myself, so it was a JV deal.
Well, hey,
Um,
good. A deal's a deal, though, right?
but it was still my first deal, and
Yeah.
man, I made $1,500 on my first deal. It took me 15 months, but it was more than just $1,500 for me. This was that breakthrough moment, and I told myself, "This is real. This is for you. Now just continue to take action." Right. So I was extremely blessed to be in that position to finally get my first deal after 15 months. I was extremely blessed and extremely happy. And I just kept moving forward, right? I kept moving forward. I put that money right back into marketing, and I got my couple. I did a couple more deals, JV with this company. I think I did about two JV deals with them, and then my
Oh
third
yeah, why
deal.
am I forgetting about that?
Yep,
I
I
don't
did
know
it.
I introduced you to the company, and I forgot all about even you were
Yep,
you were killing it. Let me tell you something, not to
yeah,
cut you off, but for those that don't know you, I really want to tell the guests, and for those of you just joining, this is my brother Angelo B. Shout out to Angelo and Freedom Cash Buyers. Um, but for those of who you that don't know, one thing that I've noticed in working with you is when you talk about being relentless, I see it. And it was like with this company, JV and these deals, once you understood their system and their process,
yep,
you was killing it. You was like, all
yeah,
right, look here, 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 here.
yeah,
You kept going and kept pushing. Whether it was a deal that was going to get bought or not, for
mhm,
me, it was the spirit and the determination that you had to make this thing work. Until you were able to go out on your own and really do the wholesale thing, you were the best agent that they had on the team as far as bringing in those JV, those deals that they could really have the buyers and stuff for. So for me, that actually is what inspired me to be around you, is because you have this young fire, like this burning fire that no matter what obstacles you face, I continue to see you push. And I really see the God within you that really, go through so much stuff. Obviously, I'm talking to you more on a personal perspective and your business, but I have truly seen the spirit of God within you, and it has really inspired me, bro, to really have more faith. The faith that I see that you have, and to be, can I be completely honest? I'm be transparent.
Yep.
The faith that I see that you have, I'm like, okay, God, let me get a little bit of that faith, because I have seen where in my mind I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna work out. And you still pray, and you still pray with your whole heart, and you still pray with that faith. And every time you do it, and I see God show up in your life, I'd be like, oh man, this is real. Like, I know God is real, but when I see it and I see how you are, I'm just excited to be able to see the whole process and what God is doing in your life as well as in your business. And so, and saying that to say you definitely sparked back up when you joined Superhumans. Now you're JVing with this company. Things are coming in and you're starting to learn more. I love how you're stepping out to really learn without knowing. It's like, okay, I know that this works. I'm around people that it works. I can see how this works. Now I got to just tap in a little bit more, do some deals while I'm learning, and partner with this company. And tell me about when you bridged off and you got your first deal that you did.
Yeah. So I did I believe two JV deals with this company. I'm glad I did because one thing it taught me is it taught me how to um s- use the system, right? They used the system and I didn't know anything about Podio. So they used a CRM called Podio, and I saw everything that was going on inside of the Podio of how they were managing leads, following up with leads, just being able to have everything in a certain order to follow and a process to follow, right? So once I picked up on that and really learned that, and really learn the back end of the business, how to sell the deal, right? You can get the contract, but it's another thing to actually sell the deal. And I don't think a lot of people talk about that dispositions and actually how that process works, right? So once I got the back end of it and I learned how to use a system like Podio, it was game over. It was game over, right? So that third deal, um, this is when I branched off, and this was actually my first deal I did on my own. And this was in September of 2020.
Okay.
So I'll break down this deal a little bit. It came from cold calling. Um, and I reached out to the seller and I set an appointment, right? I was so excited, getting out there and set the appointment because I like to be out there interacting with the sellers and stuff like that. But one thing I wasn't sure about is I didn't see a lot of, comps when I was running numbers. So I had my guy, shout out to Paul Osteen, my
Hey,
guy
Paul.
PTR.
That's the bro
Um,
there.
he helped me out. We jumped on a call together and we ran some comps before I went out to the property. So we get out to the property. And the property is a disaster. I mean, it's almost like a tear down type of property. The situation was, I mean, the mom was living there, the whole family was living there, but the mom had passed away, and it was two brothers. They both owned the property, and it has been vacant for about, I think, 7 to 10 years since the mom passed.
Wow.
So I was dealing with, I guess, the younger brother. The older brother was in a assistant living home. Um, so the younger brother had a power of attorney over the older brother, so he was able to, sign everything for him. So we got out to the property. I did a walkthrough. I made him an offer, right then and there on the spot, and everybody, what they say, when they say yes, it's like, oh my God, he just said yes, like what to do next, right? So
Right.
I was so excited that, I'm signing the contract and stuff, shaking. I'm like, oh my God, this is actually my first deal that I'm actually, doing on my own. And I was just extremely proud of myself in that moment because I finally broke out of that analysis paralysis phase. And it took me
Mm.
a long time. I think it comes down to,
And for the
people
viewers,
not,
bro, can you tell them what analysis paralysis is for those that may
yes.
not know?
So analysis paralysis is, you constantly just taking in the knowledge, learning, like you watching YouTube videos, but you're not taking any action on what you're actually learning. So you're stuck in that phase, and they call it, analysis paralysis. You like to just take in the knowledge, but you're not putting the action behind the knowledge that you're learning. So that was me in the beginning, because I wanted to be so perfect on knowing everything. In
And I
all
want to point that
reality,
out because
yeah,
so many people are stuck there, bro. So many people are stuck watching, because I was one as well.
yeah.
It took me, before I became a realtor, I actually watched the whole real estate, wholesale, quick sell stuff for about a year. Then I was like, oh, let me go back and get my license while I was still watching. And then I became went to get the license, became a realtor, and then try to put two together. And now, kind of getting established. But before, that was the same thing that I had. So I know a lot of people might struggle with that. And so I kind of want to be able to break those chains today as we're talking, to let people know, if you and I did it, like, you can do it as well. And people don't know that they're there unless we point that out. So I
Yeah.
just want to point that out for those that are
I
just
I
following us.
think what really got me out of that phase, it all comes down to this. It's like, yo, I'm not gonna die over this shit if I just take action. Nobody's gonna come and kill me and take my life, right? You just have to take the
What's the
action.
risk?
The worst thing that can happen is someone tell you no or F off, so you move on,
There
right?
you
And
go.
once I got out of that space and that mindset, I just started taking relentless action,
Love it.
and to continue on the deal, so we got it locked up. I believe we locked it up at 28,000. Now, I should have negotiated lower, because I threw out the first number and he accepted it on the spot. So I already knew, I lost, because the seller
Oh,
didn't
no
give me his
problem with
number.
this number.
He didn't give me his number. I wasn't that good at negotiating at at that point. I was still learning,
Of
still,
course. Well, hey,
but
you took action, right?
yeah, but so we ended up locking it at 28. Um, and so after I got it locked up, I sent everything over to title, open up escrow, put earnest money down, um, and I started looking for a buyer, right? So I didn't have any, a big buyers list at this point, so what I did was I utilized, Facebook Marketplace. I put it on Facebook Marketplace, and at first I put it out there for 50,000, just to test and see what I would get. So this is a crazy deal. Your first deal is always crazy, right? It's a crazy story. So I put it on Facebook Marketplace for 50,000. I ended up getting the agent that reached out to me that said, "Hey, I have a buyer that's interested in this, and he's willing to pay the 50,000." And I'm like, "Okay, great." Right? So I sent the agent over the assignment contract. She sent it over to the buyer, and within a day, he signed, sent it back, and he put down 2,500 earnest money to title. So I knew it was a serious buyer. So I'm thinking everything is good. I'm about to make a huge deal on my first deal, right? I got it locked up at 28,000. I signed it for 50,000, right? You do the math, right? So I'm thinking it's going to be a big deal on my first deal. So here comes the good part, right? A week before closing, the agent reached out to me. Hey, my buyer found another property. We're going to have to go ahead and cancel this one. And I'm like, oh my God, it's a week before closing. So,
Wow.
the sellers already, getting prepared to close, at this point, I'm like, oh shit, like what am I going to do, right? I have a week before closing. So, thank God that I kept all the messages from previous interested buyers, right, that were interested in the property. So what I did was I started reaching out to all the interested buyers that showed some interest in the property before. So these two brothers reached back out to me, and they said, yes, I'm still interested, but they wanted to come out and see the property and stuff. So they went to go see the property. On the same day after they went to go see it, they was like, okay, we want it. Um, and at first they wanted to offer me 28,000, but that's what I had locked up for. So I negotiated with them. I said, hey, I need to be at 30,000. We need to be at 30,000. They gave me a little pushback, but they wanted the property, right? So they came up to 30,000. And I made sure that, they put earnest money down as well. And, within only 7 days, right, a week, I found I was able to find another buyer, and I was able to get this deal closed. And it was my first deal. So you can imagine the panicking, what I was thinking when that buyer backed out at the last minute. I could have, quit. I could have folded. I could have said, you know what, this ain't for me. But I hung in there, and that's why I say, I'm relentless, because I don't give up when shit get hard. I continue to
Right.
push forward, and I continue to find a way to, to figure it out and make things work. So we ended up closing on that deal. I did keep the first buyer's earnest money. He didn't get that back, so it was 2,500 that was wired to me, and I also made 975 on the actual deal with the second buyer, because we agreed to split the closing costs. So that was the negotiation agreement. If he came up to 30,000, that we had to split closing costs, which was cool because I knew I was getting the earnest money deposit from the first buyer. So altogether, I made 3475 on that deal, and that was the first deal I did from A to B, right? From contracting it to selling it on my own. And it was my first deal, but I was extremely proud of myself. And there's a story that I love to share with people, who just to inspire them, right? That everything is not peachy cream in this business. Every deal has a different story,
Yep.
and
Very
you
true.
gotta hang in there, and you gotta find a solution to solve the problem, right? So I was extremely proud of myself to make sure I got that deal across the finish line.
Very true in what you said. And that's why I wanted your story to be heard. That's why I wanted to talk to people and just let them hear your story. Relentless, I stand behind you with that phrase because I have seen it. And a lot of times people feel like on these podcasts, oh, you got to wait till somebody get successful and all the way up here before you can broadcast what they're doing. No, this is a show about keeping it real because I want to keep it real while we're going through it right now. I want to be able to have you go back on YouTube and look at this video a year from now, 2 years from now to see what we were talking about, what we were doing. This is like a journal, right? It's documenting what we're doing now. A lot of people like to, again, wait till you get to a certain success level that they feel like you have to have before you can talk and tell your story. And I wanted to tell you that right now on this platform, because for you and what we see all the time, right, it's like, oh, like I can't be a leader until I do this and that. Oh, I can't be this until I do this and that. When God has something for you and in your life, regardless of where you are, is a message to be told. And the thing that we do, again, I keep saying it and I put it back out there, is serve. When God see how you serve him and how you're obedient to him and how you sacrifice. When I think of you, I think about sacrifice because I've watched you sacrifice so much. And you do it with such grace. And so when I think of those things, I think of you. And I think it's so important for people to know, listen, everything is not peaches and cream, like you said. Like real estate, I love it. But as I shared with Jerry Pearson and Michael and them, this is the most up and down roller coaster of like a marriage, right? Like I love it, I hate it. Oh, I'm happy, man. Oh,
Yep.
so many emotions. But when you love what you do, you find that joy. And the one thing that we can find is solving problems, serving people, helping people. When we move from that spirit and that servitude movement, it allows God to work within us and to work. And he sends us people and we go out, and be resources for other people. And that's how you and I continue to connect. You know,
Yep.
um, had it not been for meeting at the Superhumans and connecting, our network is our net worth. And, that's what we always share. And that's what I stand big on with the group is even though I'm a realtor, there's no reason why I wouldn't even network with so many different people. I mean, just alone in the last month of just networking with different investors and wholesalers, I'm now getting their clients calling me. Now they have rehabbed these properties that they have bought off market and they're looking for a realtor to list. I have not done any marketing for leads when it comes to sellers. I'm actually working on that right now. But through me networking, I have, by the grace of God, 3 listings of a phone call, and I did nothing but just be in the midst of a bunch of great people that I provide information for. They provide me information. I, value to value, and that's how we work. And that's how we do in that community that we built with the superhumans. And so, it's so important to know that networking is important. It's fundamental. We learn from each other, we grow from each other. And if anybody's just watching this, we want to really push that message out. Had we not networked, it allows us both to still be sitting at the table and we get to eat together as a family on deals that we are doing together. Just because, again, Angelo knows if he has a realtor, he has a deal and they need to move, that's not going to stop him. He's going to call me, hey, let's go to this property together. We got in a call, we rode together. When we do things together as a team, and it works because we're close to each other.
And one thing I want to touch on too is, yes, your network is your net worth, right? You have to constantly network. You have to constantly meet new people. This is one thing that's great about this industry, is that you continue to meet new people every single day. And it's something that, Michael and Jerry always said in the Superhumans is, relationships over real estate, right? Your relationship is extremely powerful. That can
Y'all put
either
that as
be
a hashtag relationships over real estate. Relationships. Yes. Hashtag that,
exactly.
guys.
And that could be, having good relationships with your title companies, having good relationships with your buyers, having good relationship with your lenders, having good relationships with other wholesalers, because those relationships can bring you more deals, right? And
Definitely.
deals that, like you said, you didn't have to spend any marketing dollars for, right? It's all about networking and building those relationships. And that's something that I definitely want to touch on too.
Absolutely. And not only that, but the relationships can bring us other people, right? You can call somebody, they might not be the person for you, but they might know who you need. So just in calling,
Exactly.
I did that with my broker the other day. I was like, listen, I have this listing and Baltimore City is running behind on giving him water. And he's like, oh, one of our agents, works down Baltimore City, for the water department. I was like, what? But I just took a guess and calling because I'm like, man, I know another realtor has had this problem before. Like, who can I contact? And so it pays to know someone, And the thing is, a lot of people will forget a lot of things. First impressions are always good impressions. So whoever you are going to network and meet, I do encourage people to go to these REIAs and go to these events that they have networking events. Go to some events where there are no realtors. That's where I like to go. I want to go places where there are no real estate agents at all. I can network with everybody there, and even if realtors are there, great. But go to events and meet people. Not only that, guys, when you meet people, follow them on Facebook, follow them on Instagram immediately if you can. And then send them a text message or send them a message in their inbox and say, hey, it was very nice meeting you. I'm looking forward to connecting. I do bop, bop, bop in this state, whatever the case may be. And that's how you start that networking trail, and then you just connect based off of it. And I love the fact that things are virtual now, because I would have never met you had it not been for social media, although we're in small Baltimore. Had it not been for the social media platform, we would have never had met. So for anyone that's watching, if you know someone that's into real estate, if you know someone that can benefit from what we're sharing, those are my tips. And we're going to continue to give more tips as we go along. But you definitely want to go to as many events as you can. Always answer your phone if you can. I mean, if you got block time and you're doing stuff, great. But do the follow up. Answer your phone. I had someone was reading a book the other day, and it was talking about $1 million real estate agent. And the way one of the tips was that you become $1 million real estate agent is to answer the phone. Just that simple.
Simple.
Talk to everybody that call you. Be as nice as you can, because first impressions are everything. And also, people will forget a lot of things, but they will never forget how you made them feel. From that first impression, if I can feel your spirit, if I can feel great positive energy, that's someone I want to vibe with. If I get negative vibes or negative energy, I don't want to vibe with that person. So, when you are networking, you also want to make sure that you submit to your higher self, meaning that you be in the most highest possible energy that you can deliver to that other side. So that way, that person want to network with you and that person want to work with you, especially if they can't feel that connection face to face. It's different if you're in the room with someone versus on a telephone. You got to be able to hear it through the other line. You know what I mean? But our voice, our sound, that all projects to the other line. So these are things that you want to make sure that you write down and that you make sure that you follow the next time that you do go to a networking event. Because again, that is your net worth. You might need someone, you might need some resources that they have. You're going to need something in this industry. One thing that we have learned, Angelo and I, that the more that you know, the more people that you know, the more knowledge that you know, the more that vision grows. You want to be connected with like-minded people. And I know you
Yes.
hear people say that a lot, but you really want to get into an accountability group. That's what we found with the superhumans. You want to get with other groups that maybe you create within your own self. Maybe your business partner, if you have a business partner, you want to be able to make sure that you are connecting with people, again, like-minded, that can uplift you, that can encourage you, but that can also be real with you. Hey,
Yep.
listen, you slacked this week. You ain't do what you were supposed to do. We said we was going to hit goals A, B, and C. It's okay to be honest with the
Yep.
people that you're around. Bro, what do you want to add to that?
Yeah, and I think you hit it right on the nose, right? Join a community that's going to hold you accountable. That's one thing that the Superhuman group did for us is, we joined a community and it held us accountable, right? We had goals that we wanted to achieve, and every week we would show up, okay, did you hit your goals? Did you hit your goals? Right? Because it held us accountable and we knew, okay, who are the action takers and who are the non-action takers? And, the results show for themselves. If you actually take an action, the results are going to come. So that's one thing I believe is just, join a community that's going to hold you accountable. It's very, very important to, especially if you're in the early stages of your entrepreneurship journey or learning, wholesale and real estate. Definitely join a community that is going to hold you accountable. Very, very important.
And I also want to add, there's nothing wrong with investing in yourself. Now, when it comes to the wholesale piece, you got people out here who do collect money that, do some stuff that I'm not saying do everything. You want to make sure you review people, that you check people out, that you do your
Yep.
research, but you want to get a mentor and you want to get yourself a mentor of someone who really do this business, that is really successful in the business, and who has time for you. If you can get a one-on-one mentor, if you can be a part of a group, you want to invest in yourself. And there's nothing wrong with paying, money to go to these events, to network, and to find you a mentorship program that is good for you. But make sure that before you pay any money, that you do your research on the person and or company. Because I'll tell you this, if you are around for the next 3 to 6 months, millionaires, eventually you're going to become a millionaire. You want to put yourself in the best resources possible. And not only that, if you're investing in yourself, now you really want to take action because you have spent your money on this mentorship program to network with so many great people. So make sure that you get the best and the most out of what you're doing, and that you're investing back into your company and into yourself. Your children will love you for it. Your business partner will love you for it. You will love you for it. You can definitely step out and do some things on your own and try that trial and error. But if you get with a group that holds you accountable, that provides you value, give you knowledge, and make an impact on you, your life will forever change, as ours have done and is continuing to do.
Yep.
With us, it's a thing where you just continue to grow. You just go to the next level, to the next level, to the next level. It's not a race. You know what I mean? No one's in for a race, because you have some people that they do get into the real estate business and they do great. They take off, and that's wonderful. And you have some people, and we have a lot of friends that have been in the business for, a year or so, and they're just starting to close their deals and they're just starting to gain that momentum. So things don't happen overnight, but the more you put in, the more you will get out of what you're doing. So we definitely want to also encourage you guys to just make sure that you're taking your business serious, that you are networking with like-minded people. And we want to get into our special deal. Bro, I will let you start the story with this one, but this deal is very close to us both. And for us, again, it was not about the deal. It's about relationships. And that's the one thing that I pride myself in when I say the powerhouse, is that I have the ability to take that investor mindset, and I have that ability to take that realtor mindset, and I have the ability to strategize based off of the deal and what's going on, to just see what makes the most sense to solve the problem for the seller. That's the most important thing. And in this deal, it just was very special to me because I just saw God's hand. Every time it was like a stop. We couldn't do, we had to do it. Like it was just so much. And it was like, okay, God, are we gonna close this deal? It's like, what, what's going on? Like, but to see, bro, you be relentless, amen, through the deal.
Amen.
And not to give too much detail, but we lost a friend on this deal. It really showed us that when it
Yeah.
comes to money, some people may not be down for the team, and I, some people might have their own selfish reasons and things, but in this business, either you get friends and you know that you have a friend because money don't change that, or sometimes money might step into play and it might change a friendship. So we really went
Right.
through a lot, but I really want you to talk about and get started because man, and we drove. That was a ride too, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I just want to tell the people like when you're starting your entrepreneurship journey, losing people is a good thing, right? And I had to realize that because when I started my journey, I was losing friends that I had as childhood friends, and I didn't understand why. And it's because if you're on your entrepreneurship journey, right, it's because God has directed you on a different path from the people that you're hanging around. He's separating you and creating that change in your life. And part of that change is you losing friends. You might have to lose family. I've done both, right? And it just comes with a part of the journey, right? So losing, friends and some family maybe, it's a good thing because it's creating that energy, that new energy that you're going to need on this journey because it's a roller coaster ride. You're going to have ups, you're going to have downs. You got to surround yourself with, like you said, with like-minded individuals who's going to keep you strong and keep you having that positive energy and continue to push you to move forward, right? So let me get into the deal, right? So this is a very special deal because me and Yolanda, both was working on this deal. So the lead came in from, of course, cold calling, right? As one of the marketing strategies I love to do. So the lead came in cold calling. I believe this lead came in March of this year, 2021. Um, so when lead come in, the first thing we do is we look at the notes, find out what the situation is, because we want to identify what the problem is to be able to help the seller, right? So we identified the problem. We give the seller a call. We had a great conversation. And we set an appointment, right? We set an appointment to go see the property because we knew that it was some motivation there, right? So we set the appointment. We went out to the property. But one thing the seller told me is, I don't want to do anything unless I have a realtor I'm working with. So the first person I call is the powerhouse realtor, right? Because he gets it done, right? So I called Yolanda. I said, hey, I got a smoking hot lead. Can you meet me at the property, right? So Yolanda comes out to the property. We're all there. As soon as we get into this property, I just felt the energy. It was just something about the energy in the house, the energy with the seller, the situation that they were going through, right? It was just a different energy, and I knew that we can help solve that problem. And most wholesalers or real estate investors, all they think about most of the time is their pockets, right? The money, how much I'm going to make on this deal, how much I'm going to make on this deal. And when you actually identify the problem and actually solve a problem, the money is going to come. So when
Mhm.
you change your mindset and focus on identifying the problem and solving the problem, and don't focus on the money side of it, money is just going to come to you without you even focusing on it. It's just a law of nature, right?
Yeah.
So the problem with this seller was, she just had a divorce not long ago. All of her kids are grown. They move out of the property. She's remarried, and the property that she was living in, it was a childhood home for her kids. Her ex-husband, of course, they just had so many memories in the house. So she basically just wanted, to move on and just have a new chapter. She was newly married to her new husband, and she just wanted to move on and have a better life and a new chapter in her life with, her new husband. So, we identified the problem. And of course, we stepped up to the plate, and we helped solve that problem. So we did our walkthrough. We talked to the seller. We had a great conversation. We made the seller an offer right there on the spot, and we walked out of that property with high energy, all smiles, and a contract to go with it, right?
And she was so happy on the realtor tip. Like that,
Yeah,
I think really calmed her down and let her know that it wasn't just a deal for you, but to make sure, okay, I'm not just here to buy your property, but I have a realtor who's going to place you into another property during this transition. I mean, she had to trust us to, for you to wholesale with me to find her another one. So in the midst of you selling her property, she has to trust me to find her property, which we ended up doing a lease back for her for another month so that we could go ahead and still have some time to close on the next property. Bro, just to break down some details of the deal, and I'll let you do that because I know we had to, it was like was it a septic? No, not septic, but it was like a well that had to get
mhm.
checked and some stuff. So just kind of break down the details of that.
Yeah. So we ended up, getting on a contract, and it was time, to find a buyer for the deal. So, we were marketing it. We had a lot of people that were interested, but we just, for some reason, we weren't getting the number that we needed. Um, so we reached out to, shout out to Brad. We reached out to Brad, who actually was one of the buyers that were interested in purchasing it himself, but he said, hey, you know, um, the numbers are kind of tight for me. It doesn't work, but I do have a buyer that may be interested that buys in that area. So shout out to Brad. He brought us a buyer for this deal, and we were able to JV it all together. But the buyer, he wanted to, make sure that everything was in great condition with the property. So he did his walkthrough, and one thing that he was worried about was, the water. So he wanted to make sure that it was a septic tank, on the ground, and he wanted to make sure that, the well was there. So he had, did a well test to make sure that the well and everything was on the property. And, after that, we did find the well and everything was there. And he was ready to move forward and close. I know you touched on the lease back situation. So we did have to do a lease back in this situation in order to get this deal closed, which basically means that we had to hold some of the seller funds in escrow until they officially vacated the property. So we actually closed on it while she was still in the property. Um, and the buyer was okay with that after we explained it to him. So we did end up closing on that deal until, you found her a new property to move to, which you did, and she was extremely, extremely happy about that. So once you found her a new property, and we were able to close on that side of the transaction, she was able to move out of the property. The buyer, the buyer was going to renovate this property and turn it into a rental, but he decided to keep it for himself as a property to live in for himself. So he was extremely excited. All across the board, it was just a win-win situation. We solved the problem, and we got to be a part of this experience together. So I was extremely happy that, you were able to be a part of this and you came in with open arms and, we got this deal done. And I
Of
was happy
course.
and blessed for us to be a part of it all together.
Definitely. And the one thing I want to say that really, no matter what obstacles you go through in a deal, because some things are going to happen that's outside of your control. I believe in being honest. I believe in communicating. And each time that we had something, even with the lease back or him going to go test for the well, or you even had to renegotiate the contract with her at some point. But everything that happened, one thing I learned through this deal, and it's like the same for many, always be upfront, always be transparent, and communicate. Whether you know an answer, if you don't know an answer, you need to check on the seller, you need to check on a client, whether we buy all parties to the deal. Check in with everybody, communicate with everybody, whether it's title company, the lender, if you got a financing deal. I just never trust other parties or someone else is going to do the information. Even if the title company comes to you and they say, hey, we can't close to this day, we're going to call a seller, still call that seller and say, hey, I know title might have been in touch with you. They're going to close on this day, but we're working it out and blah, blah, blah. The person needs to hear from you regardless. And that's the one thing that kept us in the communication, is that we continue to check on her throughout the whole entire process. One thing that does is it never makes the client feel alone. They're able to talk to you. they're able to feel like and know that you're there. And if it's something that's going on that's outside of your control, they know that you're still communicating. I mean, this deal, it took 5 months, for a seller to sell her house and agree to sell her house and
Yep.
agree to find a property. We initially, I think, had a 2-month closing date on that. And to then have to do an extension, and for her to trust the process. I mean, in this market right now, it's a very tight market for buyers. It's a seller's market. It just is what it is. So it was
Yep.
so many times for like, shucks, I think about, because we had to get her pre-approved in the beginning. And then we went from that to now looking for a property. But once we actually started looking for her property, it took us like three months, like a good 3 months. And that was from, I mean, we had to put in at least 10 offers. I'm not even exaggerating. I was kind of like, bam. I was, throwing, they were looking in Pennsylvania. I went back and got my PA license real quick. I was like, all right, where we going? What I need to do. But, I say all of this to say that the trust that we gave her was there. And that trust came by being authentic, being ourselves, communicating, and just being straight up with whatever we were facing and talking to her throughout the whole deal. I want to play a clip of when we were at the closing and we just talked to the client. I just want you guys, the viewers, to see the authenticity in with what we do, how we partner up, how we network. And I want to show everybody, if you are a realtor right now, if you're watching this, if you know a realtor, tag them below. Let them know that there are so many people that could use their help in the process of selling a home to be able to buy, whether we're together on the whole deal or not. The thing is about serving the community and helping others. So as a licensed realtor, if you have that ability to network, it is extremely important, because we're not doing it for ourselves, we're doing it for others. Check out this clip real quick of our closing.
And there was everybody smiled the way through, and I said, I'm not going to cry.
You can.
But when we met you, I also felt comfortable enough to share the whole personal thing and tell you how sick I had been, and that I had been on life support, and that I had been at University of Maryland for 2 months in the ICU, and it had only been a year and a half after that we met and made this next big step in my life. And it is literally 2 years to this week.
Wow.
That I was flown and I was there for 2 months. And so what I gained from that, what I've learned about the value of people and what you just, oh my goodness. So when you guys walked in, it was, I was such a gauge of energy, and I knew you were good people, and you guys just really helped us through this next chapter, which has been, not just your typical buying a new house. We've really been through life experience.
Definitely.
And look at our reward.
Definitely.
And I just want to say, from the moment we walked in that house, I felt it. It was a different experience for me, because I've been in this business for 2 years, and this is the first time I stepped into a home, and I just felt this is different, right? And out of this journey, it took 5 months, from the first transaction of getting your property close, and from this transaction getting close and finding your new home you moved to, right? So it's been a process, but in this process, not only did we help you, but we created a bond and a friendship that will last a very, very long time.
Awesome. Thanks for checking out that clip, guys. So what you just witnessed there was just our client, her testimony, and how we helped her. You never know what your calling is to be in somebody's life. And so for us to solve a problem, for us to really go in and help her, you never know what people are going through. Here it is that she was, flown into the hospital, was literally on life support, was going through so much. Angelo shared what she was already going through with the home, having a divorce, family moved out, and having all of this space and wanting to downsize. Not to mention, I think she has like 7 dogs.
Yep.
And so she's trying to downsize, but she also needs space for her dogs. And she wanted nature. She wanted a lot of nature around her and just a little more specific for the animals to be able to be secure into the home. But I want to encourage you guys today, and we're sharing our story to just talk about how important it is to network, how important it is to serve, how important it is to problem solve. You know, again, we talked about relationships over real estate. It is very important. For me, it is not about a deal. It is about that relationship. That person will call you. They might send you a referral, which is word of mouth, right? You don't have to do any marketing for that. If she knows someone that's looking to buy, she can say, you know what, this young lady helped me. If she knows somebody that wants a cash offer, she can call Angelo and say, hey, he helped sell my house for cash. This is the guy that you want to work with. So it is about the networking. It is about the experience that we were able to help someone. And that day for me, I knew and being a part of the process, I was like, okay, God, this feels great. We are helping. And I don't know about for you, but when I left out of there, I felt like job well done. I was like, you know what? We did it. It wasn't
Yep.
about the pay. It was about the feeling.
Yep.
Inside, I felt so good
Yep.
that everything that we went through the last couple months, I felt like it was all worth the stress. She found a house that they love. The house is so them, you know, it's a beautiful home. It was beautiful for the animals, and she really loved where she is, you know, and she didn't have to worry about anything because everything was taken care of for her. She was just communicated throughout the process of what was going on. So it's important again to network. It's important to be able to problem solve. It's important to be able to help and serve. When you do that, your business will grow, the people around you will grow, your mindset will grow. You will just start really changing your whole perspective on life. I want to leave you guys with this, and then I'm going to have my bro say something, but I want to leave you guys with, we really have to understand and know what our purpose is. If God has planted real estate in your life, I say this right now, and you can watch any guru in the world. You have to be a problem solver, and you have to want to help people. If you want to be successful, people are in this business. They might not be in the long term and they might not be successful. But if you're not coming from that servitude heart, God cannot bless you if you're not going to be a blessing to others. And I say that wholeheartedly. God can give you something today and take it away tomorrow. But if you want to be a blessing to others, what God bless you with, you have to be able to tell somebody, share your story, help somebody, and do it from a heart of servitude and not from what you're going to get back. God will give you back everything 10 times full when your heart is in the right place. And so it's not just with real estate, but I say that more so on real estate because you have so many people out here who just look for a check, don't really want to help people. And you can tell by the bad energy from those people, like stay away. But
Yep.
God gives you the gift of discernment. And the thing is, if you're in real estate, we're in it to help people. Your gifts are not for you. The God-given gifts that he give us, he give it to us, but it's not for you to hold on to. It is for you to tell somebody, help somebody, and guide the way for the next person to get through where you have been. And so we want to share that today. Bro, before we let everybody go, please share with me, share with the guests and our viewers, what is something that you learned throughout your experience and something that can help someone that's just getting started?
For me, I would say, just figure out the reason why you're really in this business. If it's not for money, I mean, if it is for money, then you're not in it, for the right reason. You just need to get out because you're not going to last long, right? This is a business where for one, you have to have patience, right? Two, you have to, enjoy the process because it is a process, it's a journey, right? This entrepreneurship is a journey, right? And, three, you have to solve a problem. It really comes down to us solving problems. You know, any entrepreneur in the world, they get paid for solving problems, right? So that's what kind of business you're in. And just remember your why and use that to motivate you when you don't feel like getting up, when you don't feel like making that call, when you don't feel like going out driving for dollars, when you don't feel like following up, right?
Yeah.
Think about your why and use that because if you quit and you give up, you're not giving up on yourself. You're giving up on that person that needs you to be successful. Someone is
Come on,
depending on you
bro.
to be successful.
That's
Right
right.
now, at this very moment, every
That's
second you
right.
breathe, someone is depending on you to be successful. So what you do today will determine what you do tomorrow. So start today. Don't wait. Take action. And I'm gonna leave it at that.
I love it. I think that's a perfect way to end. That's a perfect way to end. And again, it's not for you, it's for others. And you really got to get that, as God continue to work in your life and tell you what your purpose is and you find out your why, do something that you love. If you don't love real estate, get out.
Yep.
That's another thing. If you're not here because you love it, you got to be able to be enthusiastic about what you love to do, whether it's something else, whatever career choice that you decide that you want to be a part of, love it and love it with your whole heart. So that way you can serve whatever the gift is that God gave you into that field. Shout out to you, bro. I see you right there with the Angelo B Enterprises. I know you got some great things that you're doing.
Yep.
You're branding more. You're coming out with Relentless and just doing some amazing things. Hey guys, you can definitely follow my brother. He's at Angelo B on Facebook or at I am.Angelo B on Instagram.
Yep.
Did I miss anything else that we could follow you on? Or do you have anything
No,
else?
I have TikTok too.
Okay.
I am Angelo B. If you want to follow me on TikTok, Instagram, it's I am Angelo B. Facebook is Angelo B. Those are the three main platforms I'm on. If you just need help, you want to talk, you want to figure out how to get in real estate, maybe you want to JV some deals, hit me up, shoot me a message. I'm always down to network and help the next person up.
That's what's up. You guys heard it first. Thank you so much for keeping it real with us. You have just been tuning in to Keeping It Real Tea. I'm your host, Yolanda Brockington. We had an amazing show with my bro, Angelo B. And remember, guys, your network is your net worth. Peace.
Peace.